Good afternoon. I thought I might go through and explain assignment number 1 to you in a little more detail instead of having you just try to read through and guess what I was looking for. In chapter 3, you're going to read about gender and gender socialization. And one of the things that we know is children learn to behave their gender by the influences that they have in society. So what I'd like for you to do is go out and see just how clothes and toys and a variety of other things that children use might influence their gender socialization. So what I want you to do is go to at least one store. Try to make it a store that sells both clothes and toys and even other gear for kids so that you can kind of get a chance to look around. If you have time to go to more than one store, this is even better because then you can kind of do a comparison to see what are the similarities and what are the differences. But if you only have time to go to one, that would be just fine. So what you're going to do to start off with is go to the store and you're just going to look around. I want you to pay attention to the things below, like how do you know which things are for girls and which things are for boys? Pay attention to color. Pay attention to signage in the stores. I want you to feel the fabrics of the clothes. I want you to kind of touch them and see, are girls' clothes and boys' clothes different? Are they the same? I want you to look at patterns and decorations and be able to describe for me in detail what each of these different types of clothing look like. And then I want you to look for some gender-neutral clothes that you think could be for either a girl or for a boy, that it doesn't matter if you put it on either sex of child. Once you're done looking around the store for clothes, I want you to go ahead and move over into the toy section. And I want you to just kind of start observing in a similar way that you did with the clothes. How do you know which toys are for boys? How do you know which toys are for girls? Are there different colors? Are the toys different? Look at the packaging. Look for images on the packaging. Are there pictures of girls or boys? So I want you to pay attention to colors and details and designs and patterns. Then look for any gender-neutral toys. Let me know what they are. Let me know what they look like. How do you know if they're for boys or for girls or for both? So you're going to spend a lot of time just kind of observing and looking around to see what are for boys and girls. You might also want to go over into the baby section and look at gear for babies, bottles and pacifiers and blankets and bedding and strollers and car seats. If you've never done this before, I think you might be surprised at what you find. Once you've gone out and you've done your observations, and you might want to take some notes while you're doing it. But once you've done that and you are ready to write your paper, what I want you to do is I want you to write this paper in essay form. So I've actually given you 3 sections and given you some bullet points underneath, and I've simply done that so that you can organize your paper and make sure you're answering all the questions that I would like for you to answer. Please do not write your paper in number order like I've done for your assignment sheet. It should be essay style, which means paragraphs, and it should also be free of grammar and spelling errors. What I want you to do is go over and look at and talk about the overall implications for the differences we see in toys and clothing for boys and girls, meaning how does this impact them? If it's your son's birthday or if it's a little boy's birthday and you go to buy them something, most of you probably go straight to the boys section. Why do you do that? What kind of message does this send to boys and girls when we have these gendered sections of the store and we have things that are so different for them? Does it limit them? Do we ever step outside of those gender zones? Is it easier to do that today than it used to be? Is it frowned upon? So I want you to discuss these things. So what I've given you here is just kind of a few details on what I'm looking for, but please feel free to go into greater detail yourself, and especially in part 3, when you're talking about the overall implications. What I want you to make sure you do is provide lots of good examples for me. Describe the clothes, describe the toys. I want to be able to see what you were seeing through your words. This assignment is due on June 19th. You'll put it in the Dropbox under the Lessons tab. It should be typed 12-point Times New Roman font, double space, and I wrote about 2.5 pages in length. Now I want you to know that 2.5 pages is simply a recommendation. I don't think you can do this assignment well in less than 2.5 pages. For some of you who are more wordy or you might have more to say, you can go over the 2.5 page limit. Please don't ever limit your assignments in length when I give you an about. It's merely just to kind of give you an idea about how long I would think it would take you to do a good job if you wrote pretty concisely. So don't ever cut your 5-page paper down into 2.5 pages because you'll be cutting something important out. But I will say if you get to 10 pages, I think you've gone far enough and you're probably just rambling. As always, please let me know if you have any questions. I also want to point out to you, here's the grading rubric for assignment 1. You might want to look at this when you're writing your paper to make sure that you're including everything that I'm looking for. If you have any questions, as always, please email me. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this assignment.